Hey, Jay here, and this is No 450 Day. I'm a big proponent of no 450s because I'm not that good a rider to ride a 450, and I got a couple of like divots in my chest, different things when I've been hurt on a 450, right?
Yeah.
He's there when I woke up last time from riding a 450 at Mammoth a few years ago. So now I'm just a 250 guy. We are going to ride a 350 today. The 350, we're going to go over the details, I think, but it's only a pound more than the new 250 as well. So the KTM's really got these bikes awesome. New 350 2019 and 250 2019. We got Racer X out here, Pingree's riding, and we're going to be spending some time on the 350 and 250 out here at Cheney Ranch. We're going to go over all the changes on these bikes, really cool bikes for you to check out. And I'm a big believer in 250s and 350 size bikes, so let's see how they go. Okay, so this bike, both these bikes got a list of changes. Now, this isn't like quantum huge, you know, these are refinements on all this bike. The biggest thing is that they all look physically different. Now they all look the same as the factory edition that they've been racing all Supercross, the 450. So it has the updated plastic. And so plastic tank radiators have all been updated. The radiators are a little bit larger, especially down low. So they've added some cooling capacity all down low. The plastic fits all the bikes. All the new 19 models is all updated to the new plastic. The frame has been updated, and they did a lot of that stuff for rigidity in different areas. And a lot of that stuff, honestly, most of us are never going to feel, but that's one of the reasons they've updated the frame. And so when they updated the frame, so now it needs all new parts. One of the advantages of the new pipe they put on, for those that are familiar with KTM's the last few years, you have to remove the shock to change out your muffler, which is really a hassle if you're going back and forth from a stock muffler to modified or to an aftermarket one. So a real hassle. So that's a really cool deal now that you don't have to do. Is the muffler comes right out and head pipe comes out. You don't have to take the shock off. So normal deal like all the other bikes to change the exhaust. So that's really cool. The updates, a lot of them are on the chassis. That the frames have been updated, as we said. The swing arm, they've made it so that you can run the rear wheel back further. So it might not seem like a big deal, but some people want to run the rear wheel back as far as possible. It makes the bike even more stable. So you need to run a longer chain to do that, but that's something that's there now that wasn't there before. On the 250, what they did is they made some updates to the cam, the mapping, and the suspension in the new frame. And so all that stuff is combined, and the bike is just refined and a little bit better yet. They did some durability changes with an updated gearbox. So the transmission's been updated with Pankel gears. That was one area that was a little weak on some of the KTM, some of the 250, 350 models. I think it's mainly 250, would have some durability issues with the transmission. Now that was mainly, it never affects someone like myself. It was mainly guys that are riding Supercross, hitting whoops in third, and messing up their gears. So that's mainly what you're seeing there. So the upper triple clamp got updated as well for more rigidity. Again, and then on the 350, they got all those exact same changes, except now the head has been updated a little bit like the 450 did. They tightened up the head. They made it a little smaller, so it weighs a little less. It's like 200 grams in the head, less weight. And so KTM's trying hard to lose weight in a lot of places. I am an advocate for riding lighter bikes. I think lighter bikes are good so that when you do crash, there's less mass coming to get you and all that. So I think there's some good things for that. Okay, so the suspension updates, there's a lot of trick stuff they did inside that I, of course, couldn't tell you everything, but so far, it looks like those will all help, and they're learning that all the good components that KTM's kind of known for with the hydraulic clutch. They told us today that the hydraulic clutch, KTM's been having that now for 20 years straight. So really cool deal. We love the hydraulic clutch. It's amazing. They come with great wheels. You got Excel rims. You got Brembo brakes. The brakes are just phenomenal, amazing on the KTM. The stock brakes are probably, without a doubt, the best thing out there, period. So we love those. And then they updated the battery for this year and did some other durability changes. Hey, so we've just got back here. Spencer and I have been riding both these new KTM. Small bikes, we'll call them, 250 and 350. And for me, the changes are pretty cool. They are smaller changes, but they've made a big difference in the way both bikes are. I kind of think the 350 feels a lot better than proportionally for the changes, just the chassis and everything about the 350 feels better. More of an improvement over what the 250 got. But the 250, with that said, I feel more comfortable in the 250 because I feel a little more comfortable going a little slower, being in more control. The track's a little tough today. It's really gnarly. It's hot out here and dry, and the track's not real deep and it's hard underneath. And with that 350, I was having to hold that clutch in a bunch. So, but the bikes feel amazing, both of them. KTM's gone a long way. I've said this before, that I never thought that I would be a KTM guy, so to speak. And I've owned KTM's now, and these bikes are really impressive. I did talk to the KTM guys about all the changes that we've listed out and talked about, and all these changes are the same for 125, 150, 250, two-stroke, 300, up to this 250 4-stroke, 350, and 450. So many models, right? All those, and then all the XCF models all got all these frame, chassis, suspension, and swing arm. All these adjustments, refinements have all happened to those bikes. So, Spencer, what did you think of the two bikes, and which one did you like a little better?
The 350, definitely a huge improvement over last year. I rode the bike last year, and I really liked how it felt power-wise. I wasn't as comfortable in the chassis, but this year, new chassis improvements, feels really light in the air, feels almost two-stroke-like. Going over jumps feels comfortable. 250 also improvement, power, very snappy. Suspension on both bikes feels great. Really good stock. Really liked the new frame style, looks really great. And of course, the bike's power is just unbelievable. All maps are fast, and you can perform in pretty much any map you put it in.
Which bike would you buy? Now, not that you have to buy a bike, but
if I had to choose overall, I'd probably pick the 350 because it's that even split of I'll have enough power for whatever I want to do, and then also it's not too much power to where a 450 is a little bit too much, but 350 is just as fast and it rips just everywhere you need it to rip.
All right, so that's kind of what I was feeling, is that this 350 I feel like is better than a 450, say, from 5 or 6 years ago. Maybe a 09, 10 Honda 450. This bike is all that and then some. So I think it's a lot lighter than that bike was, and probably as close on power. So this thing just feels insane. It's only 1 pound heavier than the 250, but for me it does feel a lot heavier than that 1 pound, just because it's a lot more motor. I'm slower, so I'm holding that clutch in. I think faster guys are going to be totally fine on this 350. So with all that said, I think this 350 is a perfect bike for most vet guys, especially if they're wanting to race some and don't want to be beaten up by the 450 and have more power. I think this 350 is going to be the answer for those guys. If you're maybe a young kid, obviously, then the 250 is the way to go to start racing in that 250 class. Or if you're like myself, an older vet guy who's not racing a whole lot, doesn't really care about racing, then I think the 250 is the way to go to keep you out of trouble a little more. You don't have to worry about that. And then again, we're probably going to be riding the XCF version very soon. Basically the exact same bike, same mapping, same transmission, everything except 18-inch rear wheel, kickstand, larger tank, and softer suspension settings. So for me, I kind of think if I was going to spend my money, I'd probably buy an XCF, because then I could use it at the track and trail and come up with a little bit softer suspension settings and be really good for most of the riding we do. So again, these are some great bikes, and I think for those guys that maybe are smart enough or man enough to admit that they don't need a 450, you can't go wrong with either one of these bikes. And again, awesome time out here. Thanks to KTM, and we've had a great time out at this ride today, and hopefully it helped you out some.